Welcome back to the Velveteen Reader, where stories linger like velvet. Before we begin, let's take a moment to relax. With me, take a deep breath in and out. Release the tension from your shoulders and your neck, and get comfortable as you prepare to read with me. Tonight's story is a cautionary tale, one that reminds us that everything is not always as it appears to be. In this classic tale, a hungry wolf hides beneath the disguise of the innocent, slipping into the flock to satisfy his appetite. But as we'll soon see, deception carries consequences of its own. This is Aesop's timeless fable, The Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. Part 1. In a valley bordered by whispering forests and rolling green hills, a lone wolf wandered. He was a large beast with thick fur decorated in scars, the result of an adventurous life. He was known through the hills as a fierce predator. Wherever he went, fear followed. His teeth were too sharp, his eyes too keen, his presence too heavy. Doors closed, flocks scattered. Everyone would run simply at the sight of him. He learned quickly that he was a creature unwanted, a creature that was feared. A creature that is feared is a creature that is powerful, he sneered. Not far from the forest lived a shepherd, steady as the hills themselves. He stood tall daily with a sturdy staff, watching, always watching. As a young boy, the shepherd in training, he had once lost nearly an entire flock to the wolf's nightmare raid. The cries of that night still echoed in him. He remembered counting the missing one by one and feeling the weight of grief heavier than the staff in his hand. That's the night that made him who he was. Vigilant, attentive, but also tender. For he did not guard his sheep only out of fear, he guarded them out of love. Each morning he called them each by name. Each evening he counted them gently like a parent tucking children safely into bed. Sometimes he even sang to them beneath the stars, his voice carrying throughout the valley like a promise. You are safe with me. In his care, the sheep thrived. They grazed without fear. They rested without question. For them, safety was like the air, unseen, yet essential. What events in your life have shaped you, and in what ways? What do you guard closely because of old wounds? Bitterness? Fear? Guilt? What are the core elements that are driving you? Part 2. Hunger drove the large wolf to the meadow's edge. He'd go there often. From the shadows of the trees, he'd watch the flock grazing under the shepherd's careful eye. The bells around the sheep's neck jingled softly, each sound teasing his hunger like a cruel lullaby. Oh, how often he'd crouch low, ready to spring, his muscles tensed, his jaws aching to bite. But the shepherd was there, always there. Staff in hand, gaze sweeping the hillside, and the wolf knew that to lunge now was to invite death. At last, he decided to give it a try. Creeping closer, paws soft as mist, he slinked towards the flock, carefully approaching his dinner. But the shepherd's sharp eyes caught the faintest movement. "Hey, get away from them, you foul creature!" he yelled with a cry. The man rushed forward, staff raised, his voice echoing through the valley. The wolf fled, heart pounding, chased back into the forest. Alone again, hunger gnawed deeper, but so did his fury. If I cannot conquer by force, he thought bitterly, then I must conquer by cunning. Think of a time when you felt a wolf circling something you held dear to you. Were you sharp enough to spot it? What did you do to protect it? What would you have done differently? Part 3. One gray dawn, after feeling the defeat of his failed hunt, the wolf stumbled upon a discarded fleece, weathered but whole, lying at the forest edge. He lifted it to his shoulders. For the first time in his life, he did not see a menace in the stream's reflection. His jagged shape softened beneath the wool. His piercing eyes disappeared beneath its hood. He looked just like them. The wolf smiled menacingly and growled to himself, This is the way I'll get my revenge on that shepherd, and my reward will be his sheep. He settled into his new disguise, lowered his head to hide his face, and proceeded forward. He stepped out into the meadow. The sheep grazed quietly, bells chiming as they moved. He moved softly through the crowd. They brushed against him without fear, thinking him one of their own. And the shepherd, scanning the hillside, only saw peace, for even a watchful eye cannot always pierce the perfect disguise. It worked. A wolf in sheep's clothing. Have you ever mistaken appearance for truth? Have you ever welcomed someone whose mask concealed their true intentions, their true face? Part 4. As the days passed, the wolf walked in step with the flock. He learned their grazing paths. He rested when they rested. He even began to mimic the way they moved, lowered his head as if to nibble at the grass, even though the taste of it soured his tongue. At times, he almost convinced himself that he belonged there. Almost. A lamb leaned in against him once, bleating softly, as if seeking comfort. For a moment, the wolf froze, his heart flickering with something dangerously close to tenderness. But then hunger growled within him, louder than compassion. He remembered why he was there. And the shepherd, watching from afar, smiled faintly. To him, the flock seemed whole, protected, safe. And then it happened. Under the silver glow of a full moon, the wolf struck. He slipped from the fleece, teeth gleaming, hunger unmasked. The sheep never suspected a thing until it was too late. Their trust had become their undoing, their innocence, their downfall. The wolf fed as he has always dreamed, but it was not power that he found, only blood. The meadow that once rang with gentle bells fell silent beneath the weight of betrayal. Do you know what it feels like to live beside someone hiding their true nature? Or to sense that something about them just doesn't fit? Part 5. At dawn, the shepherd started his day as he normally would. He set out to count his flock and instead found the loss. His staff trembled in his hand, his heart heavier still. He wondered, how could this happen? Everything was just fine last night. And that's when he saw it. The discarded fleece lying on its own just outside of where the herd was kept. He picked it up and looked out into the forest. At its edge was the wolf, mouth still bloodied like a souvenir from his master plan. The shepherd mourned the sheep, But more than that, he mourned what had been broken: trust. For though he had been vigilant, though he had guarded well, deception had slipped right past him. And that's the cruelest thing about betrayal. It doesn't always come by force, but by disguise. And so this tale has echoed through centuries, a warning dressed in wool. Not every figure who smiles at you means you well. Not every gentle voice is a safe one. Yet you may not let fear harden your heart, but rather let wisdom sharpen your sight. For truth always reveals itself in time. And as you rest tonight, may you carry this truth gently. You are worthy of real friendship. You are worthy of trust that does not disguise itself. May your circle be filled with those who are sheep at heart and never wolves in disguise. Ask yourself, who in my life shows me their true face? Who has earned the trust of my heart? And how can I, too, walk without disguise? The end. Thank you for reading with me, the Velveteen Reader. If you'd like more nights like this, subscribe and join me again. Until then, breathe deep, rest well, and sweet dreams.